What's going on, everyone? James Hancock here, and I am here to review the new show Taboo, which is on FX here in the United States. And I don't know about you guys, but I really love shows about evil people, especially evil people that have kind of a code that governs their behavior. And I feel like Game of Thrones has a lot of these kind of characters. The Sopranos had a lot of these characters. And with Tom Hardy as the central character in Taboo, we definitely have one of these kind of characters. This is a new show created by Stephen Knight, the guy who wrote the movie Eastern Promises, a really cool David Cronenberg movie. And it's also co-created by Tom Hardy and his father, Chips Hardy, which I think is really cool because at the core of this story is a father-son dynamic. It deals with a really ruthless, savage, but successful individual coming home after years abroad in 1814 to London to basically straighten out his father's estate after his father's sudden demise. And we get to see London in its most corrupt and putrid, but beautiful and stylish and atmospheric. Tom Hardy plays this guy named James Keziah Delaney. And after years of doing horrible things for the East India Company, he essentially went savage, strangled a bunch of his commanding officers, and burned a ship and went missing in Africa for 10 years and apparently found his fortune there. And now he's come home because while his father might have died in disgrace and poverty and madness, he does own a tiny piece of land over in the New World, which is hotly contested because Britain and America are still involved in the War of 1812. But Tom Hardy's character realizes that it's drawing to a close and that this piece of land near Vancouver is going to have enormous strategic value as they begin trading with China. And so basically he is in a situation where his half-sister, with whom he's got a kind of an incestuous fascination, and her husband have been trying to negotiate the sale of this land to the East India Company. East India Company desperately wants it, but James Delaney is the sole heir to this piece of land. So now he's got to go up against Dr. Stuart Strange, played by Jonathan Pryce. Small correction, Jonathan Pryce's character is named Sir Stuart Strange, who is one of James's former commanding officers, although he doesn't really remember their dealings. And Pryce plays this complete, total, ruthless scumbag who will resort to any measures to get what he wants. And James is all too familiar with these tactics because he, at one time, was carrying out these orders. So you have this fascinating conflict between two horrible people, but one who's, I guess, the hero, for lack of a better word, but he certainly doesn't look like one. He walks around in all black, has this killer like top hat, wears a gun open in public. He's just this ruthless bastard, and it's a huge thrill kind of watching him straighten out his father's troubled estate. He goes down to the family offices and realizes that for years it's been converted into a brothel. And we have a great little cameo by Franca Potente, a great German actress, as the madam who actually deflowered James as a boy. And he basically threatens lots of castration and mutilation and murder to everybody under the roof if they don't clear out in a matter of hours. There are all these great conversations about how if you get buried in London and don't bribe the gravediggers to dig you the grave deep enough, that you're essentially automatically going to get grave robbed. But we see that James has his father exhumed, I believe is the word, and they do an autopsy and realize that he was poisoned, and that's what drove him crazy, and that, obviously somebody was working against him to snag his land, and they felt like they could negotiate successfully with James's half-sister and her husband, who is a complete and total douchebag. But the best scene of the show so far has to be when James comes to the East India Company to hear their offer for the piece of land. And he's just a guy who will not put up with hypocrisy or superficial politeness or ceremonial dining or any of the nonsense or any of the tactics they're using to try to take advantage of him. And this is a man who, in spite of this reputation for being horribly savage and doing all these deeds that cannot be mentioned all around the world, he clearly is very well informed about politics and war and knows exactly what's going on. And we don't really know what his long game is apart from thwarting Jonathan Pryce's character at every turn. One interesting thing to note is that this was directed by Christopher Nyholm, who directed a lot of episodes of the Danish version of The Killing, which I think ran from 2007 to 12. And I've never seen that show, but I hear it's absolutely astonishing. But this is a show that does not look like a show at all. I mean, when you see the landscape of London, it is so extraordinarily and lovingly recreated, but at the same time converted into kind of this nightmare landscape of fog and mist and rivers and shit and blood and all sorts of just foul details. It's not a place you'd want to spend a lot of time unless you're just a horrible human being who loves butchering people or having sex with prostitutes or taking advantage of people. It seems like just a completely corrupt city, but it's obviously a great place for drama. So I couldn't be more excited to see where the show's going to go. Luckily, it's 8 episodes long, so we got a lot of good content to look forward to. But also, I've had kind of a hole in my life ever since Westworld came to an end, and so this, and hopefully with the Young Pope on HBO coming this weekend, I can kind of fill that void. So yeah, I strongly recommend Taboo. It's not going to be for everybody. I mean, it is a grim, dark show. Not a lot of humor unless you just enjoy laughing at cruelty, and I do. And so, but if you have a dark streak, then I think you'll absolutely dig it. And I love the fact this is on FX, which just shows that FX is showing some great testicular fortitude to put a show like this on cable television. So check out Taboo. Hope you enjoyed this review. Give my channel a subscribe if you did, or give my channel a subscribe even if you didn't, because I appreciate the business either way. And give me a shout on Twitter at Colbrax if you want to talk about flicks or comics or movies or MMA or video games or any of the obsessions that give my life purpose. So thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you all soon.